I think the kind of mantra that's been going through my head, whether I voiced it or made it, public, you could say, is just, are you training to run well, or are you training to win? And that doesn't have to be so like, not that it's like black or white, or that let's say you're racing the New York Marathon, and your PB's not 2 hours and 4 minutes for the marathon. It doesn't mean that your mantra or your application to training can't be exactly that I'm training to win. I'm not just training to train, or I'm not just out there running. There's an intent, there's a real serious application to the training. You're not putting in all that hard work for nothing. Okay guys, so look, that's the session done. That's a really good session. There's absolutely no doubt about that. The 5x2 mile, trying to get into marathon rhythm, whether it's marathon effort or not, well, it's hard to tell. It's altitude, you're tired from the full training. You're looking at 110 miles a week. You're looking at, I think last week, 10 to 12 miles, every morning. And you're looking at the slowest average pace of one of them runs being like 6:15 per mile. So the body's tired. And so start to think about that when you're training, when you're looking at like marathon pace, marathon effort. Don't forget that on race day, hopefully you're going to feel better because you'll be fresher. You hopefully won't be at altitude. You'll hopefully have that adrenaline flow and pumping. And race day just has this way of feeling a bit better than perhaps training. But look, today was, I'm not going to lie, that was really good. I haven't been uploading loads, and that's because I really, for a month, just needed to fucking put the head down and just, I like sharing, I like being that guy, I like expressing myself in ways that hopefully it's going to help other people get better at what they do, learn ways that they could get better, learn ways they could improve, start to work on things like recovery, like strength conditioning, like nutrition, pay attention to your eating, hopefully fucking change that psychology that at the very least you start enjoying this a little bit more. And then when the big results come, you're in a better place to actually appreciate what it is that you're achieving. And I love doing all that, but I also am not an influencer yet, is what you could probably say. And I'm not that guy totally yet. I'm not just the YouTube guy that also runs. And so I really had to remind myself that. And it's like, I think I flew to London probably like 5 weeks ago. I went to the park where I've done sort of training before, Bushy Park. I tried to do something like today, I think it was 3K reps. And honestly, it just fucking sucked. And I went back to that sort of like apartment that I stay in over there in London. And it's like I was just fed up. I was just like, what is this? Like, what is this kind of like, you're 1 foot in, you're 1 foot out? Like, what is that? And so that brings me to today, the 5x2 mile, sitting around that 5-minute pace. I've been showing you how that was going, where the heart rates are at, where the paces were at. The lactate there at the end, 2.2. I don't know what lactate is anymore, because this whole last month, I know that's pretty good, but this whole last month has just been about forcing pace. So it's kind of like I sat in that room, I tried to hit those 3Ks, I wasn't able to do the final rep or two. And part of you just has to decide that you're just fed up with that. You're fed up with where you're at. You're fed up with where that level of fitness is at. And it's like you've just decided that I fucking want this to start going better. I want this to be in a better place. I want to see if I can get this fitness back to where it's been in the past. So it's not like I'm being greedy. It's not like I'm pissed off that the numbers aren't where they should be, that the heart rates aren't where they should be. And I'm pissed off because I knew that my application to training was this like You know, some people go to the beach, there's the water, there's the ocean, they rip their clothes off and they just go dive in, right? And that's me, I'm that guy. I close off, everything on the floor, sprint to the water, dive in, I'm in. And it's like with running lately, I was kind of like just tiptoeing around the edge, you know, where your kind of toes are in, oh, it's a bit cold and you're out again. And it only works that way if that's what you've decided is best for you at that moment in time. So you've decided that I want my running to be there for me, to support me, to be good for the mental health, to be good so that I can, you know, eat a bit more for dinner, some cakes, whatever, dessert. But when you go stand on the start line, don't expect to be like a warrior. Don't expect to be like that lion mantra that I have, you know. Don't expect to win, because you're not going to with that tiptoey attitude. It doesn't mean that you don't have the capability of winning. It doesn't mean that you don't have the potential. But with that attitude in mind, you must dedicate yourself. You must throw yourself into something, literally dive in head first, take risks. This month, in terms of taking risks, it's hard. Everyone that, you know, I sat in the physio table. I was going to race, I think it was a month ago. I sat in that physio table and I told the physio, had the doctor, had the physiologist, had the coach, had they been up there in Font in 2020 when I ran 209 for the marathon, 6108, had they been there and following my training, they'd have all gone home to Ireland and gone, he's going to be fucked. If he's not injured next week, I don't know. He's going to be knackered when this race comes. And I can't explain the logic behind that. I don't know. All I know is the harder I train, the harder I push, sometimes the more tired I get, but it's the faster I get, the fitter I get, the better I feel when I'm out there running. You can't do it all the time, but if you're going to stand on the start line of a marathon and you're going to declare this idea that you want to win, you're going to, you know, have this passion, have this motivation, and really think to yourself, I think I can win this, you better have done something different than 99.9%, if not 100% of that field. And that's what it comes down to. You're trying to beat not just some athletes, you're not just trying to beat yourself. I know running, we talk about it being like you versus you, but if your intent is to win a race, and with that intent comes the likelihood of a personal best, the likelihood of one of your best runs ever, well, you better back that up in training with something. You know, when everybody else wakes up and they want to do 7 or 8 miles and maybe they want to go quite slow because they're tired from yesterday, you better do 10 to 12 and you better run pretty steady. And you don't know what will happen. I feel like all I was doing was making excuses, justifying why I should go slow, justifying why I needed another recovery day, justifying why if somebody else does 5 times 2 mile in training, maybe I should just do 3, 4. It's like one day you just have to get fed up making excuses, fed up justifying why you should do this, that or the other, and just bloody get on with it. I'm starting to be psychologically fitness, the athlete that I believe can be really competitive in races. You can't do it for 4 weeks and think you've turned around everything. It's not like the training I was doing before was bad. It was laying a really good foundation, but I needed to do some serious hard work, and that's what this camp has done. So it's brought the fitness to a completely new level. I'm now running, 5-minute pace at altitude, at the heart rates and the efforts that I was running at sea level. I'll actually love to compare that. I'll compare the rep that I did in the park that day, the 3K, around like 5-minute pace, and we'll see what the sort of heart rates look like. But I just know that from a psychological perspective, I'm just in a much better place. I'm excited about what I'm doing. I'm excited about the upcoming races. I've took a bit of shit in the comments. It's like, you're not even going to race. You'll probably withdraw. You'll probably pull out. And I think what people don't understand is that I don't fucking race to just run round. If you haven't got it by now, I want to win. I really want to win. And so when you want to win, with that comes the expectation that you're going to stand on a start line ready to win. I didn't want to go to Antrim half marathon and jog round like some pathetic excuse of a sort of previous version of myself. I've gone to Antrim half marathon and ran 6108. It's difficult for me to go back there and not be competitive. The last time I was at Antrim Coast Half Marathon, I led for 8 miles of the race or something like that. It's difficult for me to take that step back and go there and maybe run 64 or 65. There is nothing wrong with 64, 65. It is absolutely incredible, but it's asking yourself to just not be yourself, not be that competitive version of yourself. And I don't care if I line up and I don't run 61, it's fine. But I want to at least know that I've put in the work. I've really dedicated myself, committed myself, give it everything like I have this past month. And then I'll stand on a start line excited, raring to go. And that, you must take advice from that. That was a great session. I think I nailed that. But you must take advice from that. If you want big results, you want to feel like a warrior on the start line, and see if you remove all that, good hard training, good solid training, taking yourself to places you've not been before psychologically, being so tired at the end of the day that you cannot wait to get into bed, being so tired the next morning that as you get out of bed your legs ache, they're sore. Some days I nap and I wake up out of that nap, and I know, lucky me, spoiled, I get to have naps, but I wake up out of that nap and my brain's going, Stephen, I think you need to rest for a week. I am so tired, but I'm so fit and so much faster when I'm out there training. I don't understand that completely. But I'll tell you better than that. I did that video a month ago, and I'm going to probably cry a bit now, but I sat in that hotel room and I was in tears and I was so sad. And I was in this place that I didn't know myself. I didn't know that version of myself. And I just don't know at what point I stopped applying myself to life. And it's like, it sounds shit. And it sounds, I don't know what this phrase is like, whether you like it or you're not. But it's just sometimes you need to grow a pair of balls. And you just need to go back to being you. You're being all these other people for all these other people in the world. And you're behaving in all these ways for everybody else. And sometimes you just need to go, kid, what is it you want to do? What do you want to achieve? How do you want to behave? How do you want to lead yourself tomorrow out into the world? And see, when you start behaving that way, you go to bed at night and you're so proud of yourself. And of course it's important at times what other people think and other people's advice for you. But see, 9 times out of 10, it's you who goes to bed with your thoughts, your feelings, that mental health, that happiness. It's you who has to pull yourself out of bed the next day. So you are the most important part of all of this. And I just made that decision to just start doing what was right for me. And with that has come this, sense of purpose, sense of happiness, sense of just really good well-being. And I'm so grateful that I didn't just stay at home. I didn't just feel sorry for myself. I just fucking took the bull by the horns. That's what I, post on Instagram lately. Sometimes you just have to take the fucking bull by the horns. Excuse my swearing in this episode. And just be whoever it is you want to be. I don't care if it's a runner. I don't care if it's the best mom, dad, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend in the world. I don't care if it's the best employee in your work. It doesn't have to be about running. But just be true to yourself. That's so, so important. There's times in my career I've believed that I'm an absolute animal and that I would rip athletes apart. The past probably 6 to 10 months, I didn't feel that way. People could have shouted it as I ran past in the crowd. They could have gone animal, lion. And my wee brain would have went, I don't know. They don't know that you've not really been trying as hard as you could be. They don't know that when you get to rep 4 or 5, you've actually pulled out of the session. You haven't been willing to just persevere. And now I just feel like that animal again. And I'm so excited to race. I cannot express that. But look, a brilliant day, brilliant session. As always, if you want to support me, you want to support what I do, you want to support the channel, you already are by watching this. Like, subscribe, do those lovely things. If you want to check out the runningschooljoggingroom.com, if this is a new video to you, there's heaps of stuff on there, psychology, nutrition, recovery. It is brilliant. It's just a masterclass of just everything you could possibly imagine that could help you be faster at running. Half marathon plans, marathon plans, 10K plans. Check that out. And thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that. Front Remo it's been really good to me. Really, really good for me. I think today's the last day of sunshine. I think it's going to rain, but that's all right. So Dublin in probably about 16 days, and oh my God, I'm so ready. I'm excited.